It's time for today's travel and cruise industry news. With the latest from travel and cruises around the world, here's your host, Chillie Falls.
Good morning and welcome to Travel and Cruise Industry News. Coming to you from my quarters again on the Norwegian Joy. Again, I'm having trouble in the mornings finding a signal. So I went out again this morning looking for one, and so I ended up back here again. And I'm not entirely sure how well this signal is going out from here, as it's been wonky, which might be due to our location. We're going off at a pretty good pace, but anyway, we're still at sea. This is another sea day on our way to Puerto Limon, Costa Rica, which I'll be there tomorrow, but I'll get to that in a second. Welcome to Wednesday, Travel and Cruise Industry News. This is the third day of May, 2023. We do have some headlines this morning, which we'll get to eventually. Coast Guard helicopter almost crashed. Silver Nova Floatout, new itineraries from 2 Homeports. Coronation celebrations for Cunard and the Queen Anne. That and a lot more here live at 11 o'clock. Today, folks, is National Chocolate Custard Day. I know there's a difference between chocolate custard and chocolate pudding and chocolate mousse, but hell, I can't tell the difference. And I have to admit, I like all of it. Although I will say today, I'm not going to be eating much. Last night was Mr. Bucket List's birthday. And Mr. Bucket List and 5 or 6 of our friends from the group went to Cagney's, and oh my stars, I'm still stuffed. I had a very light breakfast this morning. But yeah, what a meal that was. Goodness gracious. And we had a good time, of course. If you're listening via the podcast, welcome aboard, of course. You can always access the podcast via my blog, which is accessadventure.net, or wherever you get your podcasts from. Just search for Travel and Cruise Industry News, and up pops the Fat Travel Guy. Anytime you're listening and want to hop over to check out pictures or video clips, there's always a link in the description of the podcast so you can access the video feed. So, before we get to the news, do have a couple of announcements. Number one, and my hat's off to the folks at the excursion desk on the Norwegian Joy, despite unbelievable lines of people. They have worked with me tirelessly for the 2 days. I now have 4 excursions booked, folks. 27 cruises, and I couldn't get on a single excursion, and I've got 4 booked now. And there may be more yet. Who knows? So it is going to cause some problems with the showtime. One of the drawbacks to the Norwegian Joy is they don't tell you when the time changes. It got me again today. The clocks changed again last night. So now I'm 2 hours different from what I'm normally, my normal time. And I stay on my normal time because of the show at 11 o'clock. I don't have to figure out what time it is. So actually it's 9 o'clock now on ship's time. It stays that way through Puerto Limon. And then when we go to Cartagena, we get 1 hour back. And then when we get to Aruba, Curacao, yeah, I believe they go back to Eastern, same as, my time, I call it Eastern Daylight Time. So, yeah, they got me again. So I go to breakfast this morning an hour before it's open. 2 days in a row I've done that. They don't give us the little stupid cards at night. It's change your clocks. And they don't announce it. So I'm going to try to track down the cruise director and say, dude, on some of those boring things that you tell us about all the time, how about saying, don't forget to change your clocks? But anyway. So here's the drawback to excursions, folks, especially when I have to calculate in the time difference. The excursion tomorrow in Puerto Limon starts at the same time I'm supposed to be doing the show. And with the time difference, I'm not sure that I can get the show done early. I mean, I'm hoping that I can get a show on and post it early tomorrow. I have no idea on the timing. I'll get a show put together and I'll go live with it sometime in the morning before I go on the excursion, or at the absolute last resort after I get back from the excursion. So, and I hate to ask you guys to go along with that, but I'm not sure how to get around it now that I'm actually doing some excursions, which I've been trying to forever. So, and then also the Cruise Amigos tomorrow, I will still be on my excursion, and John is having some hospital tests today and is not sure how he's going to feel for tomorrow. So I'm not going to be there at all. Cruise Amigos for tomorrow is just canceled. So I sent Martin a message this morning that I have no choice but to cancel the show tomorrow. Now, next Thursday is the sea day for me, so there won't be any problem with the Cruise Amigos next week. That brings us up to Friday. We're in Cologne, Panama, and I don't have an excursion on Friday. But of course, I do want to go ashore. I want to do some exploring on my own in Cologne, and maybe with some of my group that want to go out and walk around a little bit and maybe find a pina colada or something. So I will do the show probably like 8 o'clock our time, in the morning. So that would be no, I thought I blanked out again. I better check and make sure I'm not getting any nasty messages over here, because I didn't check on that. Yeah, okay, so apparently everybody can hear me because nobody's screaming at me. That's good. All right, so Friday morning will be early. Now, I'm on excursion Saturday and Sunday, but I don't normally do shows on Saturday and Sunday. If something major happens, I'll do a show whenever I can fit it in. Monday will be another a problem. And Monday's going to kind of be like tomorrow. I just got to kind of go with the flow. Whenever I can get a show on, I will. And Tuesday is the sea day, and then I have no idea what I'm doing in Puerto Plata on Wednesday, and the sea day Thursday, and back into Miami on Friday next week. So tomorrow and Monday, I'll get shows posted, folks. I just have no idea when. Let's see, what else do we have here? So Hot Air Tom he and Cindy were up at Port Canaveral, and let me see where it is. That looks like it. Yeah, there's That's the lovely Cindy. Of course, it's NASA. And there she is, squirreling around a little bit. She's a little better with the wheelchairs than I am. I don't have I'm not real good yet with the joystick, especially when I get into tight places or I'm trying to back up, like to get out of an elevator that's crowded with other people. And I invariably end up crashing into the edges of the doors and stuff. I'll learn. Eventually, I'll get used to this. But anyway, so they're down there at NASA with all the rockets and things. Now, here's the problem. Hot Air Tom, that would be Hot Air Tom. He's trying to hide away on the rocket that's getting ready to get shot off. And he snuck his way up on top of it, and he was, overweighted the top of the rocket, and it fell down. And see, it's laying there. That's all because Hot Air Tom was trying to stow away on the damn thing. That's my story, and I'm going to stick with it. Hot Air Tom and Cindy at NASA. So, and I mentioned this yesterday. My buddy Nate went to the aquarium up in Vancouver, and there was just kind of some interesting pictures from up there. This is kind of an ugly little critter. I'm not even sure what it is. Some kind of eel, maybe? I don't know. I'll have to ask. Now, I do like, I don't know what type of jellyfish that is, or in that neighborhood. I've unfortunately been stung by them a couple times. That's not pleasant, but I think they're gorgeous creatures. Anyway, this is in the aquarium, and this little fella here that's swimming around there, you can see the seal up there. So he sees a Nate up above, so he comes to visit, and let's see if this is going to play. And he's saying, dude, crush the bread, a little food, I'm starving to death. Don't you have a little handout? That's at the aquarium in Vancouver. Nate was just there last weekend, and he says, man, what a great place. So any of you guys that are on the cruise with me in August, and we still have cabins available, folks. We're running out of time, but they're still available. So you can call and book it. But if you're going to be in Vancouver and you've got a little bit of time, that's a great place to go. So I just offered that out. All right. Today's top story has to do with a rather tough situation with the United States Coast Guard. They performed an exceptional rescue airlifting guest from the Carnival Dream under extraordinarily hazardous conditions. The situation was so rough, the aircrew had to abort the first rescue attempt after it nearly crashed, being forced near the water's surface. The Jayhawk crew lowered their rescued swimmer to the cruise ship, but while hoisting a cruise ship nurse as part of the evacuation team, a severe squall pummeled the helicopter and it was forced to back off from the vessel. Severe downwind air currents forced the helicopter perilously close to the water surface in extremely poor visibility, risking the safety of the aircraft and the crew on board. The crew was able to recover, and both the Jayhawk helicopter and the Ocean Sentry aircraft returned to base because of the weather. Now, thankfully, because they weren't able to accomplish the mission, another helicopter came back after the weather stabilized, and the second crew from the New Orleans Coast Guard station, returned to the scene, hoisted the cruise guest and the rescue swimmer, and transferred the patient to the awaiting emergency services personnel at the University Medical Center. No further details about the passenger's medical condition or the name has been revealed in order to safeguard their privacy and that of the family members and traveling companions. But anyway, risky situation there. All right, folks, let me take this opportunity, if you haven't yet done so, appreciate if you hit the thumbs up. That helps the channel out tremendously. And please consider subscribing and the bell notifications to be notified when I go live or when a new video is posted. All right. It's Motor Mobility Awareness Month. Did you know more than 16 million people in North America have mobility issues? And that's why at Scootaround, we're committed to making the life easier for people with disabilities by providing information, mobility products, and services that enhance our customers' knowledge, mobility, and independence. And I'm a perfect example of one who has gone through that. I've been using Scootaround for 9 years now. I will continue using Scootaround. No doubt about it. If you shop now, you get 8% off. Deal they're running for the sale this month on all mobility devices site-wide. The offer ends on the 12th of May. Just call 888-441-7575 and use SRN 11137 for the absolute best pricing you can get. So that's Scootaround. Awesome folks to deal with. So, all right. The next story this morning. And again, this is a company that I don't get to talk about much. Silversea Cruises reached a significant milestone in the construction of its newest ship, the Silver Nova, as it celebrated its floatout at Meyer Werft Shipyard in Papenburg, Germany. The event marks one of the last steps before the luxury cruise ship commences operations later this year. Designed with environmental sustainability in mind, Silver Nova will be one of the most environmentally conscious cruise ships after she sets sail from Venezia later this year. Silver Nova's environmental features include LNG as the primary fuel source and a 4-megawatt fuel cell system, significantly reducing emissions. The vessel's design is expected to cut carbon emissions by 40% compared to Silversea's most advanced ship, the Silver Cruise and Silver Moon, sister vessels to the Silver Nova. The redesign and optimized hull allows for dynamic efficiency, minimizing fuel consumption while maintaining optimal cruising speeds. All right, I'll be back with a couple more stories here after a quick word from one of our network sponsors. And our next story today, folks, is from our friends at Carnival. The Carnival Cruise Line has released a range of new itineraries on board the Carnival Spirit from Mobile, Alabama for the 2024-2025 cruise season. Carnival Spirit will set sail from Mobile for the first time in October this year after a full year without any cruises sailing from Alabama. Remember, that's where the Carnival Ecstasy was, and the Carnival Ecstasy is no longer in the line. They have not had any cruises out of there since. So the Spirit is going to be there starting in October. In addition to the cruises from Mobile, by the way, there's some pretty interesting cruises, some 8-dayers out of Mobile that they didn't do on Ecstasy. I don't think there were any 8-dayers. But anyway, there's some 8-dayers both east and west. So I've never sailed from Mobile. I've never been on Carnival Spirit either. But in addition to the cruises from Mobile, Carnival Cruise Line announced that 2 Carnival Journey cruises departing from Seattle. These include Carnival's first ever cruise from Seattle to Hawaii and a 6-day voyage from Seattle to New Orleans. So there's a couple things to look at there, folks. I know a lot of you don't like Carnival. Some of us do. I mean, I prefer other cruise lines over Carnival. But again, I started with Carnival. So that's the only thing I could cruise for years and years and years. But anyway, there's several of us here that still cruise Carnival. I've got a Carnival cruise coming up this fall with Pittsburgh Jason. I haven't heard from him for a while. All right. Cunard, again, I don't get to talk about them a whole lot. But there's a little to-do coming up over there on the other side of the pond. So Cunard is joining in the celebration of the coronation of His Majesty the King and Her Majesty the Queen Consort, organizing coronation-themed activities fleet-wide. Tourists on Cunard's liners, the Queen Mary II, the Queen Victoria, and the Queen Elizabeth, have the opportunity to participate in regal festivities such as street parties, themed musical performances, movies, quiz games, etc. An exclusive coronation dinner menu has been created for the evening of May the 6th, which is inspired by King Charles' love of farming, agriculture, game, and organic principles. The menu includes a selection of dishes made with some of his favorite ingredients. Specialty designed cocktails such as the Coronation Oath and the Monarch Martini will be available to toast their majesties. What are they going to? I want to know more about the menu. What are they going to have? Like deer from the estate? I don't know. Cunard's ship will be at sea for the big day and will broadcast the ceremony live from Westminster Abbey into the ship's Royal Court theaters and stateroom TVs. Additionally, a new coronation celebration voyage was announced earlier this week with Queen Mary II sailing a round trip from Southampton to Liverpool. So some big to-dos coming up on the other side of the pond. And I don't in any way, I don't mean to make light of the situation at all. But that's coming up over there. And we will give due diligence to our friends in the UK. All right, there's one other story from Cunard. They celebrated the float out of the Queen Anne at Fincantieri Marghera shipyard in Venezia, Italy. The 249th ship to sail under the Cunard flag, Queen Anne officially touched the water for the first time exactly 365 days before she will set sail on her maiden voyage to Lisbon on May the 3rd of 2024. How about that? So, got to talk about a couple cruise lines that we don't normally talk about on this show. Anyway, I'm not sure what I'm going to do today. I need to get caught up on some of my work. I'm terribly far behind. And then I get something ready to go and I have signal issues. So I had 3 clips that are on my phone that I need to download to my computer so I can use them. And the upload starts and then it dies. So, all right, let's see who's over in the chat room. Cruising is fun anytime it's with us. Nice to have you back. Mike's here. Hi, Mike. There's Hot Air Tom. We're talking about Hot Air Tom this morning. He's with us. Katie's here. Are you back on shift? No, I'm 2 hours off now. It's ridiculous. And the only way I can keep straight is I keep my watch and my computer set on Eastern Standard. Eastern Daylight Time. So I don't screw up and forget to do the show. When you're my age, you get forgetful. So, but yeah, 2 days in a row, Katie, they got me. There was no notice. I wasn't expecting another time change. So, yeah, it's actually it's 11:29, our time, and it's 9:29 ship time now. So, and of course, I find that out at breakfast when I'm thinking it's 7 o'clock. And it was only 6 o'clock. Again, 2 days in a row I've done that. So, NCL is saving paper. I'm not putting all this. I don't mind it. They don't have to give me the stupid cards. They still do the freestyle dailies. What anything in that? Somebody said that they got a card in their freestyle daily the night before. Well, I didn't see one, and I didn't see one last night. I actually looked at the one last night. Sometimes I don't even waste looking at them because I've already know my day's going to be full of stuff. But announce it, sometimes you can't understand the announcements, but Captain's on a couple times a day. I said, we're sailing at 27 knots and we're going at 14 degrees Fahrenheit, and I don't understand any of that stuff. So, he could say, don't forget, folks, got to change your clocks tonight. Somebody needs to tell us, old folks that get confused easily, watch the clocks. I think it's funny now, It was real funny this morning when I did it 2 days in a row. But, oh well. There have been signs posted at the hostess desk at the restaurants warning of change. Not that I've seen. I didn't see it at Cactus Night. But then again, I wasn't really looking for it, and we had a whole gang of people, and I tend to maybe have been talking. I do that occasionally out there, Tom. But no, I didn't see. Nothing just jumped out and grabbed me anywhere on the ship. They might have the TV on too, and if you go to the right channel, it gives you the ship time. Well, I don't pay that much attention to it. Cindy's with us. Hi, Cindy. M's here. Hey, M. Gretchen's here. Gretchen's up in Ohio. There's Joanne. Hey, Joanne. I actually got on the air yesterday, 45 minutes late. When I got back to the room, I rebooted everything when I didn't have everything, up and running. And we're right on. So I had to redo the show, of course, because the stream was already used up in that aborted attempt that I had in the show yesterday. But I did actually get the show on, just a little bit late. My nephew works on Coast Guard helicopters as a winchman. It's very scary. Oh, yeah, this was really a dicey situation. And they got hit with a downdraft that just almost dropped the helicopter into the water. It was really close. And for them, obviously the pilot did a hell of a job saving the ship to start with. But for them to leave, a person, one of their crew, it was at the time I was in the, I'm sure the ship had called them ashore on board. but for them leave without accomplishing the mission, man, it had to be awful, just awful. So, and I mean, thankfully the result turned okay. The next ship, after it calmed down a little bit, took care of it all. But yeah, God bless nephew for the work that they do. That's just unbelievable. Unbelievable what the folks do for us that we just never think about. That's one of the things that I'm noticing more and more about cruising is the people that do all the little things that you just don't see. The guys that are cleaning constantly. I mean, I'm always fascinated with the guys that hang on the side of the ship and watch the damn windows on the outside. But I mean, there's jobs on the ship to make our life better. Those of us that are, living the life of being at sea as much as we can, like I am. All the things they do just to make our life better. I mean, it's just amazing. You got people that, like Joanne's nephew, that literally put their life on the line every day, and that's just, to me, those are the heroes of the world. Sonny's with us. Hi, Sonny. Where in the world is Jason? I don't know. Yeah, he does some Pokemon or whatever that stuff is. I see some gaming stuff every now and then from him, but I haven't heard. I mean, I used to get, even when he wasn't on the show for a while, I get messages from him all the time. I don't think he's mad at me for anything, but that could be too. When that happens, but yeah, I don't know. I don't have any idea. Story on the news where a guy set up a huge spot outside just to see the coronation. Yeah, that's I mean, for the guys over there, I mean, this is a once in a lifetime thing. The Queen Elizabeth was the queen through most of those guys' entire lifetime. So yeah. I was born when he was coronated, but I don't remember it. I was too young to remember it. But yeah. So and all the pomp and ceremony that they do. I mean, I'll watch it because, again, I'll never see something like this again. But Emily needs a road trip to Pittsburgh to find Jason. Yeah, that's a good idea. Go to Pittsburgh and see where the hell Jason is. I don't know. Maybe he's working like crazy. He does something in one of the hospitals there. I'm not even sure what his job is. That's just not anything that we ever talk about. Cindy says, yeah, I was wondering what happened to Jason. Emily says, I don't really drive. Well, you could always walk to Pittsburgh. It'd be a hell of a hike, but you could do it. I'm a lot closer than him, Tom, but I'm not going. Yeah. I won't go back to Pittsburgh either. So Jason is in the other direction. Nikki's here. Hi, Nikki. How you feeling, Nikki? I've been thinking about you. Now I'm thinking about Amigo John. Amigo John is having some coronary testing in the hospital today. So he wasn't entirely sure how he's going to feel tomorrow, which is one of the reasons that we went on and canceled Cruise Amigos, because I'm going to be on the excursion. And I mean, if he's, if this knocks his socks off today, he might not, be at his best to try to struggle through a show tomorrow. there's no sense in putting him through that. And then Martin's just, we've never been able to count on him. And even when he's been there, he's always having signal troubles or camera troubles. And so that's part of the reasons why. But now, I'm thinking about Nikki because I know she had a couple of days that she was feeling good. Now I'm thinking about John a lot. So, Grayson says maybe 90 minutes to Pittsburgh. Yeah, that's all right for you. AFK is much shorter. Siri says an hour and 48 minutes. There you go. It's a conspiracy hoping to get some pier runners or left behind cruisers. The sound signal on my end, Chillie, is not all clear. I hear you, but the signal is going in and out. Sounds robotic. Yeah, I understand, guys. And that's the kind of thing that I've been having with the signal on this ship. So I get to as best I can, and hopefully it's enough sound that you understand what I'm saying. Sonny says, I miss Jason. Tell him to come back. Where's Dennis also? Dennis, I had a message from him yesterday, I want to say it was. He was in the, no, I don't think he was in the audience yesterday. But anyway, I had a message from him. And, but he pops in sometimes when you don't least expect it. And I think he does. I think he watches every show because if I screw up with the name, like I know he'll be pleased that how I said Venezia instead of Venice. And Meyer Werft. I don't know if any of you guys caught that or not. That was one of Dennis's corrections of my pronunciation. Can understand Chillie on sound, so that's good. Okay, well, yeah, and I know it comes and goes, guys. That happens with our cruise ships sometimes. Joanne has to be up at 4 a.m. to watch Coronation. Yeah, well, see, that's about the time I normally get up, so I'll be okay for that. Signal is not that good today. Yeah, I know. And I tried going to a number of places on the ship, and it was worse. So that's why I ended up back here in my cabin, which my guy hasn't been in to clean today. We said she may go out today if sun comes back out. Can't wait to get to Starlink entered on NCL ships. Yeah, it makes a big difference. A breakaway, 100 times better than the Joy as far as the internet goes. I want to see what they're going to do on pricing. The other thing, Hot Air Time, you had sent me a message on questioning me about the excursions. When did I book the excursions and all that? I specifically waited. I did some research from other places, but my research on the NCL excursions, everything that I looked at said that it was not suitable for wheelchair users. So I wanted to wait until I got on the ship to talk to the excursion desk before I did anything. So that was intentional. Then they have become so good to work with, and have now booked me on 4. And one of them, the fourth one, I just got like late last night. It was a cancellation. It was an excursion that was full, and they had a cancellation on it. And they said, "So, I know Chillie will take this one." So they grabbed it and sent it, put a note. I said that if you don't want this one, just let us know. I said, "Oh, good heavens, no." Yeah. So that's the Port of Limon one. So I just got to go ahead on that last night. But they've been great to work with. And I give them a $50 credit on every excursion. So, and the way it works, I did find out the way it works. They don't give you the $50 excursion when you pay for the tour. Of course, these are all booked into my account. But as soon as you take the tour, they take the excursion, they'll credit you back $50 for that day. That makes sense. If you would cancel an excursion, you've already been given the $50 credit. Then they got to fight to get their money back. So, I can understand why they do it that way. And I don't have a problem with that. They've been so good to work with, Tom. Once she said that was fine. Because I like the gal down there. There's about 4 of them. I mean, it's a huge excursion desk. But I like them a lot. They've just been excellent. All right, that's going to wrap it up for today, folks. I'll do a show tomorrow. I'm not sure when. So hit that little bell notification so when I go live, you'll get notified. Because it could be any time. It's when I can get a show put together, which also is dependent on how late I'm up at night. Which I haven't done anything at night the first 2 nights other than dinner, and because they were kind of later reservations. Last night was really late for me, and we didn't get out of there until 11 o'clock my time. So I'm not doing anything after that, man. I got to go to bed. But so I haven't been to the theater yet. I haven't been to the comedy club. I've caught a couple of the groups in the bars, but not. So we'll see. I'll do a show sometime tomorrow. Just not sure when. So, all right, guys, that's going to wrap it up for today. Thanks for being with me. Thanks for putting up with this awful live stream. And as always, folks, stay healthy. Think about cruising, and hopefully we'll all get together soon on the high seas. Have a fabulous day, everybody. I'll see you tomorrow, hopefully before I go on an excursion. I'm excited. Later, y'all.
I regularly post videos on all facets of the travel and cruise industry. So if you like to keep up with the latest in cruise ships, ports of call, cruises themselves, Chillie chats, and travel and cruise industry news, just hit the little subscribe button in the lower right-hand corner. Hit the bell notification so you'll be notified when a new video is up or we go live. This video was produced by Chillie's Cruises.